Hello, Dr. Tarek. Nice to meet you again. How are you today?
Nice to meet you. I'm very well, Solo. Thank you for this meeting. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. A lot of my viewers are interested in investing in UK properties, but many of them have some concerns. They are not familiar with the market. They know there are regulations that need to follow. So I know you are an expert in this area for many years. Could you tell us what are the most common problems encountered by landlords in UK?
Well, landlords have three categories of problems. Problems with tenants, with costs, and with liabilities. The main problem with the tenants, of course, is that they don't pay the rent, or they can damage the property, or they can leave the property in a very poor condition so that it remains vacant for a long time. In relation to costs, of course, you have the letting agent or the property management company's fees, which can be 15% plus VAT. You have regular annual compliance costs like gas certificates, electrical certificates, fire safety and inspections. And then you have repairs and maintenance as another cost because there may be a leak, the boiler may go faulty, there may be other repairs that need doing. And of course, you need to re-renovate the property every time the tenants move. So that is another cost. And then you have the liabilities. As a landlord in the UK, you are responsible for making sure that the property is safe to live in and is of a good standard. And you also have liabilities to the tenant. You have to make sure that there are no issues with the tenant becoming unwell because of the condition of the property. So these are the main things, the tenant issues, the costs, and the liabilities.
There are indeed a lot of problems that landlords need to face. So I understand that your business provides a solution for passive investors to invest in UK properties without so much worry. Could you tell us more about your business, about your solution, and what you can offer to the potential investor in UK properties?
Yeah, of course. I'll tell you what we do to begin with. We buy properties in good areas. We renovate them to a good standard, new kitchen, new bathroom, fully decorated, make them compliant, and then rent them out to good long-term tenants. And then what we do is we sell it as an investment solution to our investor clients. And we give contractual guarantees on the property and the buying process. The investor then owns the property, but what they do is they rent it back to us so that we become the tenant of the investor. And we agree to maintain that property at our own cost and deal with all the liabilities of the tenant because we are the acting landlord. They become the passive investor owner. And this sort of system basically removes all of the landlord worries we talked about earlier, the tenant issues, the costs, because there are no costs because we pay for all of it. And there's no liabilities because we are the landlord, not the passive owner. And the owner gets their regular net rental income directly from us. Over the long term, their property grows in value and they don't have any issues or headaches. So it is a good solution and our clients really like it.
What is the rental yield we are talking about?
Well, the rental yield which we offer on our Flexi Furnish range, which is the most popular right now, is 7% net. That means they get 7% after all costs. There are no costs because we pay for all of those. The only thing they're liable for is the insurance, which is about £100 to £150 per year. But apart from that, there are zero costs long term. And every repair, every maintenance, even the re-renovation is our liability. So that is a net rent of 7%.
You just mentioned the term Flexi Furnish. Could you elaborate more on what it means exactly?
Yeah, so just to summarize, we have 8 categories of properties from 70,000 to 120,000, and each of those can be purchased unfurnished or as a flexi furnished property. Now, flexi furnished properties are a bit more expensive. They're £6,000 more, but they deliver the higher net rental yield. And from our point of view, what flexi furnished designation means is that we can furnish that property according to the needs of the tenant to maximize our rent. So practically what we do is we renovate the property and then we invite the tenant to look at the property, which is unfurnished. And we say to the tenant, will you pay us a higher rent if we furnish this property according to your requirements? And some tenants will say to us, yes, I want everything furnished and I want white goods as well. And then we will do that, and we will charge them maybe £150, £200 extra rent. Others might say, I just need the bedroom furniture. I have everything else. So we just do that, and we charge them a slightly higher rent. And some will say, I don't need anything. I have everything. Or they might say, I don't want to pay any more. In which case we won't furnish it. We will just keep the furniture in stores, because there is a cost to us of furnishing and maintaining furniture. And we pay all those costs, not the investor. So what we want to do is minimize our costs, maximize our profit, so that we can always give the investor 7% net yield. And we do that even when the flexi furnished property is not furnished. They still get their 7% net return. So it's a very good system, and it works well for our investor clients. They get a higher investment. Works well for us. We can make more margin, and the tenant is happy because they have a property which is suited to their long-term requirements.
It seems to be a pretty good deal for me, and it sounds like a win-win-win solution. So what about the price of the properties? How do they compare with other properties as shown on like Rightmove and Supra?
Well, when you take everything into account, the price which our investor clients pay for our properties is actually lower. Initially, when you look at the initial pricing, our prices might seem more expensive. An investor sometimes comes to me and says, I can buy from an auction this property which you're selling for £70,000. I can get it for £50,000. And I say to them, well, when you buy it for £50,000 from the auction, you have costs. You have auction fees, then you have to re-renovate that property. You put a new kitchen, repair the roof, new bathroom, and these costs, as a minimum on a low-cost property, is around £15,000 to £16,000. And then you have to make it compliant. You have to rent it to good tenants, and then we guarantee the properties, no costs ever. So when you take all of those additional things into account, our pricing is actually lower than what an investor could do by buying themselves in the open market or using another agent. And not many people realize that, but when they actually add up the costs, then they see that we are actually cheaper. And we have actually a table on our website which compares buying in the open market from Rightmove, Zoopla, auctions, to buying from us over the long term. We are cheaper.
It makes perfect sense to me. Some potential property investors are also worry about the future policy change. Now that the Labour Party is in the government, they have announced or are preparing to implement some new policies. So, in your view, that these new policies would affect future investment opportunity and risk?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of investors and owners have been worried about what Labour might do. But actually, when you actually look at the detail, in fact, it is going to be beneficial for our company and indirectly for our investor clients. The reason is Labour is going to invest more into the lower end of the housing market, which is the market we operate in. And specifically, they are going to do 4 key things. They're going to abolish Section 21 no-fault evictions. Now, practically, we never use those anyway. We only use Section 8. So it's not really going to affect us or our investor clients. We can still, the tenant will still vacate the property if the investor wants to live in the property. They can still sell the property. We will buy back the property at the prevailing market price whenever our investor clients want to sell. They're not tied to us, but they can sell. So it doesn't really limit us or our investor clients. The second thing is that Labour is going to raise the housing standards. Now, our renovated properties are already at that standard, and our Flexi Furnish range is exceeding that standard. It makes houses into homes for our tenants. So we're already doing that. And the third thing is they're going to make properties more energy efficient, which is a good thing. And we've been actually doing this for many years now. All of our properties, which customers are buying now, when we renovate the property, we upgrade it to EPC grade C. And even our base of 2,500 properties, we started several years ago. Every time the tenants move, we do a re-renovation and we upgrade the EPC to a grade C. The cost of upgrading to us is actually very low because we have our own staff doing it. We don't use contractors, which can be expensive. We use our own staff. We have our own materials. So we can do that very easily. And well before the deadline, whatever that deadline is, I think people are saying 2030 for labor. Well before that, all of our properties will be grade C or better. And even if the legislation changes in the future and the government says it has to be a grade B, then we will upgrade our properties to grade B at our cost because we are responsible for all the compliance. So we will not need to ask our investor clients for any money to upgrade the properties from a compliant point of view. Yeah.
That's really good news. So regarding the legal compliance, as the landlord, there are certain responsibility. For example, the landlord needs to check renters' rights to rent. In practice, how is your firm doing that? And is there any other documents that's legally required to check, and how your firms implement and enforce these checks?
Yeah, so our lettings agency is ALA accredited. All our letting staff are qualified letting staff. So we obviously follow all the requirements. We ID the client. We make sure they have the right to rent. Not only that, we check their credit references. We get their credit history, county court judgments, and we also get guarantors, so that if they're not able to pay the rent, the guarantor will pay the rent. And we've learned this from experience, over the years, to make sure that our tenants are good tenants, and they look after the properties and they pay the rent. So we do all of those legal requirements and more. And the second thing is that our investor clients, you don't need to worry about that because they are not the landlord. Because in our system, we are the landlord. So even if we make a mistake with this, then we are liable. We may have to pay a fine if we make a mistake. Obviously, we won't. But even if we do, the owner is not liable because they are the owner, not the landlord.
I see. So there's another question, and that there were some unfortunate incidents involving some development of mold inside a house, which caused the death of a little toddler. So how is your firm going to handle that? I'm talking about some social responsibility. How your firm handle this kind of thing to make sure that the house is actually suitable and the renters inside live comfortable in it.
Yeah, I think this is a good point. And the thing to understand is that mold only happens when there is damp. Damp is the cause of mold. And the way we deal with this is that we train our staff to recognize damp, diagnose its causes, and then do the treatments. We do that in-house. So very briefly, Solo, there are three main reasons for damp. 70% of damp in these type of houses is due to condensation and poor ventilation, especially in the kitchen and the bathroom, but it also in other rooms as well. About 20% of damp is due to what we call water penetration. This might be a leak in the roof or the gutters or the windows, or it may be a leaking radiator, or it could be pipes or the bathroom. And less than 10% is due to what we call rising damp, where the damp course, which lies just above the foundation of the walls, was not put in properly or has become defective. So those are the main reasons for damp. And our staff are trained with each of these to recognize it, diagnose it correctly, and then treat it. With the main type of damp is simply putting in good extractor fans, educating the tenant about ventilation to prevent condensation. Obviously, with the penetration damp, is the best thing there is to treat the cause, which is any leaks, roof leaks or water leaks. And with rising damp, we have our own system where we strip the plaster, put in a new damp course, replaster, let it dry, and then redecorate and fix that rising dam. So, we're very confident that our properties are safe from that point of view. And obviously, we do regular inspections, identifying any damp so that we can treat that before there is any mold. And having said that, of course, these issues regarding the property, again, are our liabilities. The owner is not going to be in court if there is a damp issue. We will be, because on the tenancy agreement, we are the landlord and we are responsible for this. Yeah.
I see. So I understand that there are already thousands of investors as your clients. So what do they want from their investment, actually?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, what investors want really are very simple things. They want to securely own a property, legally, fully own a property. They don't want to have any insecurity regarding that. Then they want steady, good rental income. And they want, over the long term, for their property to grow in value. And finally, they don't want any of these landlord issues, the ones we mentioned at the beginning, the tenant issues, the hidden costs, and the liabilities. And our solutions actually delivers on all of these. In fact, we're probably the only company that does this properly in the UK. And, if investors want this, which I believe is what most people want, then they come to us and we will certainly deliver on that.
So my very last question, how can they, the investor and as your clients, ensure that you will deliver what you just promised?
Yes, it's a very good question. Yes, well, I think investors need to develop confidence with the company, and they can do that in two ways. I think, first of all, they need to learn more. I think your videos are very good, but also there's information on the website, our website. We have our own videos. They can also get a draft agreement once we have their ID, so they can see all the terms. They can have a meeting with me or one of the senior directors. And of course, they can visit us and see our operation directly and see our staff and meet our teams. That will give them some confidence. And the other thing which they can do is they can look at our track record. Over the last 16 years, we have bought, renovated, sold, and managed over 2,500 houses. And they won't see a single significant complaint anywhere about our company. If there was one, I would know about it, because every investor has my mobile number. But there won't be any, because we make mistakes, but we fix them. We take responsibility. So there won't be any dissatisfied clients. And also they can look at the BBC videos. The BBC has produced 5 programs on our family business over the last 6 years. And recently they've actually done 2 more. One will be coming out on BBC One in a few months' time on the Flexi Furnishing range. And there's another program coming out on BBC One in Q1. And the BBC will not come back and do these every year if there was even a single complaint. So I think people do a bit of research. And of course, they can speak to you. I mean, you have bought a property. In fact, many of your viewers have bought properties with us. They can get real experience from people who have actually gone down this route and then become confident. Many clients come to me and they say, well, it's difficult buying property, too many concerns and these. And I say to them, there's only 2 decisions you need to make. The first decision is what we are offering what you want? And what we are offering is very clear on the website. And this is what we have talked about. This is one. And almost everybody says, yes, this is what I want. It seems too good to be true, but this is what I want. And then the second one is, can you trust us to deliver what we say? And this is a bit more difficult. And this is where they need to do a lot of research, look at our track record, and eventually become confident. And once they are, they buy one property. And usually they buy more. Over the years, they build a portfolio and we look after them for the long term.
Indeed. Thank you very much for receiving my interview. And for those who are interested, you may contact me through the form that's listed at the bottom of this interview, of this video. Or thank you, Dr. Tarek, for receiving my interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you. Thank you. Bye.
Nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
Bye.